Hey guys, welcome to a little tutorial on how to digitize our Thaumatropes. Right now I have Photoshop open, and what you're going to need is um, already in place. You're going to need to have taken pictures of both sides of your Thaumatrope on a white background in some clean light, which means there shouldn't be any. Try to avoid shadows over your image, um, and try to keep the same angle and perspective of each shot that you take for this. The white background is there so that we don't have to deal with anything in the background that has to be taken out. It'll be nice and consistent. So you'll have taken those pictures. You'll have taken out the SD card. With each camera, you have the card reader that comes with it, and just plug that SD card into the card reader, plug that into your USB drive, and you should be able to access it from your file explorer on your computer. So once you click on your file explorer or go to this PC on your desktop, locate the SD card drive that is plugged in, and it should be labeled as Canon. And I'll open that up, and I'm going to open up these folders here, and then I'll see my two images right here that I've taken for this Thaumatrope. So what I'm going to do is open these up in Photoshop. Now I got where they're located. Let's see. Open. There we go. Automatically opened up what I needed. Open up both of those images. It opened up in two different files. That's not a big deal. What I'm going to do is just use my move tool, click on this image, drag it up to the next one, and hold shift on my keyboard as I drop it right here. That'll make sure that it drops in place. I don't have to do a whole lot of readjusting. So for the most part, they're pretty much in place there. Now, I just need to, with this top layer, I'm going to lower the opacity so I can see underneath it. That'll help me be able to move around these files here. So I still have the move tool selected. What I'm going to do is pull this over, try to match up the outer line there. Looks pretty good. You'll also notice that the holes that are punched don't quite line up, and that's normal. That happens. We're human after all, we're not machines. So what I'll do is try to adjust that. It's not going to be perfect, but I can get it pretty close. Adjust it as just like that, and enter. So I got it pretty well lined up. Now the inner circle is a little bit off, but I'm not too worried about that too much. So I've got this done. Now when you're taking your pictures, another thing to consider is if you want the strings and that to be included in your Thaumatrope in digitized version here. This one I didn't feel like cutting these strings off, so I just left them on. You can Photoshop them out as well if you fancy yourself as some sort of a Photoshop master. You can use a spot brush on that, or clone stamp it out, depending on how detailed your drawings are. So I'm going to now start to crop this down. I'm going to bring in the sides here. I don't need a lot of that extra background, so I'm just going to bring it in nice and tight. Enter on that. That looks pretty good. I'm going to pull the opacity back up on that. Now, what you might notice, depending on your images that you took, you might see some different quality in lighting. So what you can do to that is try to make them match the best as possible. You can go up to image adjustments and brightness and contrast. You can adjust the brightness. If it's too bright, too dark, you can adjust it as you see fit. So I'm going to go turn this one off and adjust this one now. Turn off the lock layer on that. And I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast. Adjust this one just a tad, just so I can see that it's looking pretty consistent. Now, if color is a thing on yours, then you might want to go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. If the color is a little off, this will adjust that for you. If it's too bright or not bright enough, you can definitely overdo it or underdo it, so be careful. Make some adjustments here. I feel like mine were a little bright, so I'm going to bring the saturation down just a tad, just so they're consistent between the two of them. So, pretty well lined up, and the holes match up pretty good. So, what I'm going to do now is go up to Window, turn on my timeline. By default, yours might say Create Video Timeline. We want it to say Create Frame Animation. So make sure that this little window right here has Create Frame Animation in place. And once I have that done, what I do is click on that button, and you'll see that it throws that out there already. I want to add a frame to this because obviously this only shows one side of it. So add a layer to this. It shows the same exact thing. So as long as this frame is still selected, what I'm going to do is deselect this. And now I have my two images side by side there. We want to make sure that this right here says forever. So it loops forever over and over again. And I can test it out and play it here. See what that looks like. The guy is properly being tossed off of his horse, so all that looks great. And that's pretty much it as far as creating that. Now I'm just got to save this. Go to File. I want to export and save for web. Additional window should pop up like this. You'll notice that it's a really large. It's already set to GIF, which is great. Image size is giant. So I want to take this down from 100% right here to 25. And that gives me a good size for my file here. Hit enter on that. You can also test it here if you wanted to. You can play your GIF. Ooh, that's pretty fast. But that works out pretty good. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save mine to my desktop. You will save yours to your H drive, and then eventually turn it into me on the classroom site. So how I want you to do this, I want you to title this as your name _ Thaumatrope, and click save. Go test it out, make sure that it functions properly. See if I can find it here. Open it up. And actually, how I want to open it is, let me bring this over so you can see it better. I'm going to open with Internet Explorer. And what that'll do is open up a window, and it will automatically be playing because GIF is created for web purposes. So it plays best when you open as Explorer. So there we go. It works great. So I'm going to take that and I will post this file to Classroom, and everything should be done. That's it. So if you have any questions, any issues with doing this, then come see me and I'll help you out one-on-one.